So now it looks like we're showing the right screen here, and I'll get started. Um, so as Rajesh said, we're going to do a very short PowerPoint presentation at the beginning, and then I'll take you into Citavi and show you around some of the main features, and then at the end we'll look at your questions. Uh, and um, and please do just ask questions anytime throughout the presentation. Okay, so what is Citavi? Citavi is an academic productivity tool that reduces busy work, promotes academic rigor, and drives better thinking to really help your researchers and students at your university deliver better research. And we have a pretty long track record. We've been around since 2006, and we're the market leader in Germany. We've only been out in English language version since 2010, so a little bit later. And we're growing around the world as well, but in Germany we're still really the best known, and there we have 90% of all research universities have a site license. So why are we the top in Germany for this type of software program? Well, Citavi supports the entire research process. You might have heard of some other programs like EndNote, RefWorks, Mendeley, or Zotero. Those are all called reference management programs. And Citavi has this reference management component as well. So it helps you bring in sources related to a research project and manage those sources, and then create bibliographies in the citation style of your choice. And that's what all of these programs can do as well that you see up at the top. But in addition to that, Citavi helps with every step of the research process, of the paper writing process. So it helps you search for sources, it helps you analyze content, it helps you structure your ideas and write a paper. So it's good for beginning researchers, first-year students, and also people who have been doing research for a long time, and it really supports every step of the process. And we can look at that a little bit more detail, and during the demo you'll see that a bit more clearly as well. But Citavi can help you throughout these steps either alone or in a team. And what you can do is plan tasks at any time throughout the process. So these two modules are up at the top in the graphic here. And then normally what you would do when writing a paper is you'll start searching for sources, and Citavi interfaces with your database subscriptions that your library has, your library catalog, and websites. So students can pull in that information really easily, and then they have it all available right at their fingertips. And then it lets students take their references and analyze them. So you can find the full text copies of articles, for example, or you can find the book in the library catalog, for example, your university's library catalog, and then you can really start working with that material and drawing ideas out of it and saving those ideas, thinking about the work that you're reading and saving your own comments. And all of that you can then bring into a structure, so that's step number 3. And that structure would then be the outline for a paper. This outline and then all of those ideas you saved, you can then bring over to Word and then start writing your paper. And you can also use a LaTeX editor or OpenOffice as well. And so in the end then you have a finished paper with formatted citations and a bibliography in the citation style of your choice. So Citavi really just makes the whole process a lot easier and a lot more efficient, and it lets your researchers and students focus on the ideas that they're looking at and not on all the busy work around the process. And our users think this as well. We did a short survey in 2014, and most of our users would say that with Citavi they can work more efficiently and in a more organized way, that it saves them a great deal of time, and that it even gives them greater confidence when completing research projects. So, um, that's the first part of my presentation, and now we'll jump into Citavi and take a look at the program in a bit more detail. So this is the Citavi welcome screen. This is what you'll see when you first start the program. And right away you see on the left that if you have any questions, you can ask them and you can find an answer. So you have the link to the manual, and then if you need support, you can contact us directly. Over on the right, you see a news feed, and this typically shares information about Citavi, so if we have updates that are available, but you can customize that as well and share information about your university. So if your library is offering a course on Citavi or a course on database research, you could have that show up here in the news column. This news column can also be used for RSS feeds. So then in the middle is where we can open our projects. At the moment, I've just started Citavi for the first time, so I don't have any projects. So I'll go to New Project and then add my project. And this information is all saved locally on my computer. So you don't need to worry about if your internet connection isn't very good, that you won't be able to access your files. You always have this information stored locally on your computer. And if you do want to work with your project on multiple computers, you can save it in an online synchronization tool like Dropbox, in which case we'd always ask that you make sure that you pause the synchronization while you're working. And you can also use a USB flash drive. So there are a few different ways then if you do want to work on different devices. Citavi is at the moment a Windows-only program, but we are working on a web version that will be available in beta version probably by the end of this year. And then that will work on any operating system, on any browser basically. So Citavi has created our project, and I'll just take you through the general layout very quickly. So over on the left, you'll have your list of references, all of your sources. And then in the middle, you'll have the information on the reference, and on the right, you have the preview pane and quick help. And let's see if I can move this here. So this quick help then gives you information on the field as you're clicking in it. So for new students who don't really know what some of these terms might mean, this can be very helpful because it lets them know what information would need to go in a particular field. And then this is of course useful when you're citing something later on because you'll need to have all of this information. So this all looks pretty empty right now. What we're going to do is import some PDF articles that we have on the computer. And I'll import a folder of files from my desktop. And what Citavi will do then is it will search for the information on those PDF articles and add it to the project. It does this using a DOI identifier, a DOI. And what the DOI is, it's a unique number assigned to a particular journal article, just like the ISBN number for a book that you'll see on the barcode on a book. So I'll add these to my project. And then as we go through the list here, you can see I have my article information in the middle, and then over here on the right, I can open that in the preview pane, and then I could actually start reading the journal article here. And of course, I can make that a little bit bigger as well. So you see Citavi's brought in all of this information then using this DOI name. If you would need to fix any information, you can, of course, do that just by clicking into the field and then changing it. If you ever need to add a reference by hand, that's possible as well. So you can click up here on Reference and then choose the reference type that you need. We have 35 different reference types. And then again, here on the right, we have the quick help in case a student doesn't know, for example, what do we mean by personal communication, or what do we mean by statute or regulation. The same way that I imported these PDF articles, I can also import a book. So if I have a book sitting on my desk, I can turn it over and look at the ISBN number above the barcode and enter that in. And then Citavi will look up that information in the library catalog that I have selected. So over here, you can see that's the British Library and Library of Congress. You can also contact us to have your library catalog linked up with Citavi, and then students could search and see if the book were available in your library catalog. And then they would also have the shelf number as well, so they could go find the book. So this is the book that I've added, and then it'll download the cover as well. So then I have all of that information here in my project. And later on, if I need to create a bibliography for a paper, I can simply go up here to Project Bibliography and then Print in Current Citation Style. And Citavi will create this bibliography for me. So it saves me a lot of the trouble of knowing, okay, I need to have the year in these parentheses, the period at the end. I need to have the periodical be in cursive script. So this is one of the main advantages of using a program like Citavi or another reference management program, is that you can generate these bibliographies very easily. In this case, I'm using the Citavi style, but we have over 6,000 styles at the moment. You can see down here. So you can add a style like the APA style, for example, or other styles that your students use a lot. So that's how you would add sources you already have to Citavi. And of course, when you're doing a research project, you're also going to be searching for additional sources. And the way you can do that is in Citavi, we have the online search. So if you have subscriptions to a particular database, you can often find that database in the list here. And in addition, students can search your library catalog from Citavi. And so that's something we have to set up. So you would have to let us know your, they're called Z3950 settings. But that's something we could set up for you so that your students can search the catalog. In this case, I'll just use the University of Oxford as an example. And we'll search for our term. And so Citavi now is searching the library catalog for the University of Oxford, and I can go in and add all of the results to my project, Or I can click to see a little bit more information on some of these references. If you're searching a database, you'll be able to see the abstract here as well, so that can be quite useful. And then I can just select a few and add them to my project. And Citavi will bring in the locations as well, so that would be the shelf number for the book, and that's why it's quite useful to have your library catalog in Citavi. So those books are now there, and if cover art is available, it would show up, but that's not always the case. And I'll just cancel this selection now at the bottom and go back to all of my references. Of course, sometimes you'll be searching in databases online as well. So let's take a look at how that would work. So for example, if I perform a search in a database, like the Sage Journals database, I can then export my results to Citavi. And each database will have a slightly different way of doing this, but generally what you would do is go through and check the items that you want to bring in. So we'll just take those first three. And then you add them to a folder. And over here, that option is Add Citations. And then you can go to either an export option, or here it's called Save, Print, Email, Download. And from here, sometimes I might have some options to bring in the citation and abstract, so I'll do that. And then finally, I have the option to download to a citation manager. And here I'm presented with some different options. And if you see that you have the option RIS format or EndNote format or BibTeX, you can bring all of those into Citavi. And up here I have the RIS format, so I'm going to choose that. The RIS format is really good. It's kind of a standard bibliographic management format. So, and Citavi will recognize this format and offer to open the file. The first time that you import from an online source, Citavi will ask that you double check the character encoding. This is important for languages that have any kind of funny characters that sometimes display incorrectly. So in German, we often see this with the two little dots above some of the vowels. So you can just double check that everything looks normal and click Next. And then here, check that the authors appear in the last name, first name order. And then just like that, I've added those references to my project. And I have that information available in my project, so when I want to cite them later on, I can do so. In this case, the full text is not yet available. You would have to go up here and click Find Full Text. And that's going to work best if you're in your university network, because then your subscription databases will be searched as well. And since I'm not in a university network today, it probably won't bring up so many results, so I'll skip that for now. When you're looking online, you might also, instead of just searching databases, be using websites, just normal websites. And those you can bring into Citavi with something called the Citavi Picker. You can right-click a page and then select Add Web Pages Reference. And then that information is brought into your project. If we compare, if I switch now to one of the journal articles, you see there's a lot more information than we have for this internet document. And the reason for that is that a lot of websites don't have very much metadata on the page. And so what you can do then is display the web page in the preview pane over here on the right, and then make some changes and add to the information in the middle. So it's still a little bit easier than cutting and pasting that information from from the website browser to Citavi, or if you were doing it from your browser to your bibliography in your Word document. So it does help save a little bit of time at least. So that's how you would bring information into your project. And so we're really looking right now at how you're managing your sources. But one really nice thing about Citavi is that it goes beyond that and helps you extract ideas from your sources. So if we look at one of the journal articles I have in my project, I will make this a little bigger so you can see it. And I'm just going to check and make sure that you all still can hear me. Yeah, it looks like some questions are coming in, so looks like everything is technically still working. Okay, I'll keep going then. So we have this journal article here in our project. Make this even a little bit bigger. And I can go through and let's say I'm looking for some information for a paper I'm writing. As I'm reading, I can say, that I think this is an interesting idea, and I could save that either as a direct quotation or an indirect quotation. In this case, maybe I'll save that as a direct quotation. And then up here at the top, I can read the main idea of this quotation. This is very useful for students because then they start reflecting critically on why they saved an idea and why they think it's important, and also what the main idea is of that idea. And so you can go and say something like, that. And then you're prompted for the page range too, and this is very important. So I'll enter that, and then also I'll add my quotation marks already so I don't have to do that later in my paper. And so what you're doing is, I don't know if any of you have used the index card method before when writing a paper, where when you're reading you write down a quotation or an idea, and then you might add the category of your paper that you want to add it to later on. And you can do the same thing here. So I might say, this is my category, ICT in India. And as you go through, you can look for a few different examples, so something like that. So just as an example, and you'll see that Citavi now has added my page numbers automatically. And so you only need to do that once, and then from there, as long as you're adding references from that document, Citavi will remember which page is which. So that's just another thing that really helps students prevent themselves from accidentally plagiarizing something. And let's see, there we go. So then I have my quotations there. So you don't have to just extract quotations. You could, for example, comment on something as well. And then you see that highlight over here on the left. And so these different colors really help you keep the information well organized. You know that this was your own comment, and then that this was a direct quotation. You can simply go through and highlight things as well. So we have just a simple highlighting tool. And as you go through then, you're really thinking about the information in this article and what use it has for your paper, but then also the main ideas in the article. As you're reading, you can also save your own thoughts. And I can add that to a category as well. And so you're building up then this, this knowledge base in a sense. You're really saving different pieces of information, and then what you can do with that information is go to the knowledge organizer. So far we've only been working with our sources and our source information. But if we want to work with our ideas, we can go to the knowledge organizer. And then you see all of the different ideas you've been saving, and also the category that you've created for them. So right now this is a project I've just begun. It doesn't have so much information. But if I open our example project, which you can access from the main welcome screen, then you can see that this can be really useful later on. So if I switch now to the knowledge organizer in this other project, you can see here I've gone through and I've saved images. You can save image quotations from PDF files as well. I have some of my comments here and different quotations. So these are all of the knowledge items I have. And then if I click into a particular category, then I see those knowledge items for that category. And to get a really good idea of where you are in your project, you can use Citavi's compilation feature. And that generates a list of all of your ideas that you've been saving, all the quotations, your own comments, and then it creates a nice outline with all of that information. So if we look through this then, you see we have our categories with our definitions, for example, and then always the citation information as well in the citation style that was selected. And any diagrams. And way down at the bottom, we'll have our bibliography as well. So when we show this feature, students will often think, oh, Citavi writes my paper for me. And it's not as simple as that. Of course, when you're writing, you're going to think about your information in a different way, and any paper that is just a string of quotations isn't going to be a very good paper. But it can be used as the basis for starting to write a paper. And it's really, really helpful for students when they don't know if they have enough information for a particular section, or if they feel like they can't get started with the writing process and they're just sitting in front of the blank page and not knowing what they should type. So it's a really nice feature then to see, oh yeah, I have thought about these different ideas and I have already made connections between them, and now it's just a matter of elaborating on those connections and writing more about them. So this feature is very nice for giving you an overview of your project. And where this categorization and the saving of ideas from what you're reading is really useful for is when you then go to start writing your paper. So here I just have kind of an example that I've prepared. And I'll show you what this looks like when you use the Citavi add-in in Word. So I'll go to the Citavi pane. So this is just a Word plugin that's automatically installed when you install Citavi. And here now I'm seeing all of the different books and articles and websites that I've collected for this project. And then on the Knowledge tab, I'm seeing all of those quotations. This is a bilingual paper, so just scroll through the German part there. And then one thing that is really handy, and let me just go up here. So I can insert my, oops, no, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Okay. So I can insert my, my category system that I created in Citavi. So that's my outline for this paper. And then I can use this chapter view. And as I'm going through, I can decide to insert just things from that particular chapter, so things that I've categorized. So here in definitions, I'm seeing a few different sources. I can double click to insert a source, and then that is input in the citation style that I've chosen. And then here, if I click in a new category, then I see some additional information. Here I have some quotations, and I can just double click to insert that quotation. And all of that information then is of course added to my bibliography at the end. So you have all of this information at your fingertips. You can see when you've already cited something. Of course, this looks a little better. This is how you would usually do it. You'd be writing, and then you'd want to, for example, insert a citation. And then you can search up here, double click, and then it's inserted in your document in the correct formatting. If you decide, oh, I need to add a page number for that, you can do that as well by switching to the Citation tab. And then Citavi adds that information. And you have a number of formatting options as well. So if you, for example, want some different formatting, the APA style, it's very common to use this type of format, where you have the author here and then continue with your sentence and then just have the year in quotation marks. And of course, all of this can be changed very quickly just by changing the style. You can use a number style, or you can use a different Harvard style. We have footnote styles as well. Again, there are over 6,000 styles. I'm just going to switch to another author date style, and let's see what we have here. Actually, we'll choose an English language style as well. So if we do something like the Academy of Management journal, you can see this looks a little bit different. And when we go down to the bibliography, it should be quite apparent that here this uses bolding for the titles of books. If I change back to the APA format, you can see that looks quite a bit different without that bolding. So it's very easy to change between styles then, especially for your university professors or your visiting scholars and researchers who are submitting to different journals. This is a very nice feature, especially if they don't know where they're submitting at first. They can very simply change to a different citation style. And then What's more, if a style is not available in Citavi for a particular journal, we're really happy to create that for them. So that's a service we provide. And then just going back to Citavi very quickly, because we haven't talked about it yet, I mentioned at the beginning that it also helps you create tasks related to your research. So if we go back here, let's say for this book, I wanted to read the book. I would go to the Tasks and Locations tab and then select the task Read, and I can give that a due date as well, and set the priority and add comments. I can also create my own tasks. And then all of this information shows up in the Task Planner section. And then I can sort by due date. If I have added books, I can sort by the task borrow, for example, and then I could create a task list up here at the top. That would then have the shelf numbers for the books, and I could take that to the library with me. In this case, my task list doesn't have that, but I can still print out a task list that has the most current tasks at the top here, or if I change the sorting by clicking up here, I can sort by a different criteria. And if you're doing a very long research project, sorry, then you can really use this advanced selection to find the tasks you need. So in this case, I don't have so many tasks for my project, but if I were working on a dissertation, for example, I might have a number of different tasks. And the tasks don't need to be related just to the reference. You can also add a project task up here at the top. So you could add, for example, your deadline for a conference proposal. So that's just another nice way that Citavi helps keep you organized and make sure that you never lose track of the things that you need to do. So that's been kind of a bit of a whirlwind look at Citavi. I'm just going to jump back into my PowerPoint here. Bear with me for a second. So in addition to the software program, when you purchase a license for Citavi or a site license, you also get access to our service offerings, and we provide really good first-class service because we know that it's really important for students and faculty and staff to be able to write and not have to worry about technical issues. Most academics don't like to deal with software not working, or if there's a bug or something they don't understand. They don't want to have to learn how to do that. They just want an answer so they can keep working. And so they can contact us at any time. We do have Swiss office hours, so we're a few hours behind you, but generally pretty much in the same time zone. And we always answer within 1 business day during the week. And usually if it's while we're here in the office, it's much quicker than that. So usually within an hour or 2, you'll get an answer. And we provide very friendly support as well. So students don't need to be afraid to ask us for help. And then just a quick word about our licensing model. You can test out Citavi. We have a free version that lets you save up to 100 references, and that you can find on our website if you go to citavi.com. It's the first download link on the page. So the free version lets you save up to 100 references per project. That's the only limitation. Otherwise, it has the exact same features. And then you can try it out, see if you like it. And we have individual licenses and site licenses. So an individual license is non-expiring, and it's an annual fee, but it includes licenses then for all students, faculty, and staff. And support and upgrades, and of course updates, are included as well. So that's a really good way then for a very good price, because if you purchase individual licenses on a larger scale, you've quickly run into the site license cost, so it usually makes more sense for a site license. And for more information about that, you can definitely talk to Dalsoft. They'll be happy to let you know a little bit more, or Rajesh will forward any questions on to me that we can help with. And just then in closing, I just wanted to say that if we look kind of at the big picture of Citavi, so Citavi is a tool that really helps make the research process easier, and that in turn helps promote the academics of your university. It helps because it gives students a nice method for going through the research process. And so it's less just kind of a scattershot approach. They have really a step-by-step approach. And then they're also always prompted for their page numbers, for their quotations they're saving. So it brings this rigor to the research process that maybe in the beginning stages some students don't have. And then it also improves research quality, again by kind of giving this very nice framework to the research process, but then also by making students and faculty members think about things like what quotations would go where in their paper, how to outline things, always having the page numbers available for a quotation, those kinds of things. And then also, because they don't have to focus on all the busy work, they can spend more time focusing on the ideas. And then last but not least, of course, it increases researcher productivity, also students' productivity, because it just makes it a little bit faster and less painful to write a research paper. So that's the end of my presentation then. I just wanted to say thank you, and please contact Delstaff with any questions you have after the session. And I'm going to open up the panel now and take a look at the questions you asked during the session. And we have about 10 minutes now. I can go over maybe about 5 minutes since we started a little late. If anyone needs to leave right at 1 o'clock my time, if anyone needs to leave at 4:30, please do just leave. Okay. Oh, we have a lot of questions. Thank you very much for all of the questions. So I'll move these over to the other screen so they're not in the way. So we'll start right from the top. And how it will be helpful for management students. Well, today we kind of looked at just in general how Citavi is helpful for all students, and I think it's not different for management students. It would be the same process. And the subscription fee to access the site. So the subscription fee, we have individual licenses, and to see those prices, you can go to our web page. Or actually, I think it's best if you contact Delsoft for that because I think it's a little bit different in India. Um, so please contact Delsoft regarding the pricing, and then the site license pricing as well. That's something that we can provide you a quote for based on the number of full-time enrolled students. And someone asked if Citavi can be integrated into Microsoft. Yeah, so I hope you I hope you saw that then before. So it works really well with Word, with our Word add-in. Um, Let's see. Okay, the research university has a modified APA referencing style. Can I edit within the existing system and modify? This is a question we get a lot, whether you can modify citation styles. So it's often the case that a university will have its own version of the APA style, for example. And you can modify styles. So you go up to the citation menu and then click Edit Citation Style. And then I can take a look here at the APA style. And then it's still thinking a little bit. And then I can go in and modify the style. You see here, a style like APA is very complex. It has a lot of different reference types, but many styles are a little bit simpler than this. And it's still thinking, isn't it? Let me see. There we go. So for example, if you need in your in-text citations, you don't want a comma before the year. Let's just go here and do that. I could go into the style and then change that punctuation to just a space, for example, and save my style. And then if I go into my document and insert a citation, there's now no comma before the year. So you can make changes like that in the citation style editor if you need to customize the style to match your university requirements. That's definitely possible. And someone asked how to add the images about the project imported. I think, are you talking about adding an image from a journal article, for example? Or do you mean a book cover? It doesn't look like. Okay, let me just show you how you would do both of those, and then hopefully I'll have answered your question. So for example, we're probably not going to have any images in these articles. Let's see what we have. Yeah. So for example, if you'd want to add this image to your project, you can use our image selection tool and then select that and then add it as an image quotation. And then, of course, add a caption if you want. And then the category. And click OK. And then for example, for a book, like here, this cover art, it would come from the catalog you have selected. So you can try and search by the ISBN number for the cover art. Sometimes it's not available. It really depends on the library catalog. And sometimes the book as well. But if the cover image is available, like in this case, it'll come in when you add the book by ISBN. like we did before when I added the book. Um, Otherwise, also, if you're doing a search in an online catalog, sometimes those cover images will come in as well, but they don't always come in. So, um, so it looks like someone had to leave. Again, we just have about 3 more minutes, so I'll try and get through all the questions quickly. Yeah, and a lot of people are asking about the amount for the annual fee of a university license. It's really based on full-time enrolled, and that would be something that you would ask Delsoft about because they'll be putting together all the pricing. So it's something that we'd have to calculate based on the number of students. But if you know some of the pricing of some of the similar products like RefWorks, we're under that. So we're definitely competitive price. And I think if there's ever an issue where you really want to use Citavi and the price is just a bit too high, we can probably figure something out too. So please just contact Delsoft, and if there's any issues, they'll contact us, and then we can see. So what other questions? And citations added to a project, are there any limitations? There are no limitations as far as Citavi is concerned. There is a technical limitation of the amount of space on your computer, of course. Generally, for a normal modern computer, you can save probably about 20,000 sources, 20,000 references without any problem. And I think the absolute upper limit is around 100,000. So for most projects, you wouldn't really run into that. The only thing would be sometimes we see collaborative databases of systematic reviews for maybe medical researchers. Sometimes then they have projects that are quite large of maybe 50,000 sources or references. And then any registration fees for on-site training. So we haven't ever offered on-site training in India, and that would be something that I think, again, you'd want to ask Delsoft about, and I would be in contact with them and see if there's interest in on-site training. I'm sure there's something we could put together. And then the minimum system requirements. That information can be found when you download Citavi. So if you go to citavi.com and then click download, you can view the system requirements right next to the download now button. And these are the very basic system requirements. And then in our manual, and I'll just go down to our manual link here, I can pull up those additional system requirements quickly. And you see we have a very good manual with a lot of different information. So almost always when you have a question about how to use Citavi, you can find the information you're looking for in our manual. And then if you can't find it, you can always contact us. So here, of course, you have those system requirements we saw on the download page, but then also for all the different plugins and extensions that Citavi offers, you have the system requirements here. I can post that link actually in the chat. Oh, let's see. So that should show up now in the questions area. Okay, so we're at 1 o'clock now. If there are any last questions, I don't mind staying around for another couple of minutes. So I'll just leave it open for a second or two. And then if you have any questions afterwards, please do contact Delsoft, and if it's something they can't answer, they would pass it on to me, and then I'm happy to look at the questions as well. And I'd just like to say thank you very much for attending this session today, and I hope you found it interesting.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. It was a nice presentation. Thank you all for giving us valuable time from your busy schedule. I hope you like this tool, Citavi, and definitely be interested in using for academic and research purpose. We have a recorded session. We have recorded this session, and we'll send you the link of the webinar email. And if you like to have any demo version, if you want to check it yourself, please send me an email, rajesh@delsoft.in, so that we can send you the download link and everything. Thank you. Thank you very much for your all time. Thank you again. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.